Ever notice how some people seem to operate on a completely different level? They're the ones sitting quietly in the corner, but when they finally speak, everyone stops to listen. They're the strategists, the visionaries, the architects of change who somehow see 10 steps ahead while everyone else is still figuring out step 1. If you've encountered someone like this, chances are you've met an INTJ. And let me tell you, these masterminds possess some incredible hidden strengths that most people never even realize exist. INTJs make up only about 2% of the population, which means they're pretty rare. They're often called the architect or the mastermind, and trust me, those nicknames aren't just for show. These individuals have developed some seriously powerful abilities that fly completely under the radar. While other personality types are busy with the obvious stuff, INTJs are operating in dimensions most people don't even know exist. Today, we're diving deep into the 7 hidden strengths that make INTJs absolute powerhouses in ways you probably never considered. Whether you're an INTJ yourself trying to understand your own capabilities, or you're trying to figure out what makes the INTJs in your life so mysteriously effective, this video is going to blow your mind. Some of these strengths are so subtle that even INTJs themselves don't always recognize them. But once you understand what's really going on beneath the surface, everything starts to make sense. So buckle up, because we're about to explore the hidden arsenal that makes INTJs some of the most formidable minds you'll ever encounter. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to see INTJs in a completely different light. 1. The ability to see systems within systems. Here's something most people miss about INTJs. While everyone else is looking at individual pieces, INTJs are seeing the entire machine. They don't just notice that something isn't working. They can trace the malfunction back through multiple interconnected systems to find the root cause that's 3 levels deep. Think about it like this. Most people see a traffic jam and think, "Great, I'm going to be late." An INTJ sees a traffic jam and immediately starts analyzing the urban planning decisions from 20 years ago, the economic factors that led to this particular development pattern, and how the morning rush hour timing connects to school district policies and business operating hours. They're not just seeing the traffic. They're seeing the entire ecosystem that created the traffic. This systems thinking is absolutely crucial in today's complex world. INTJs can walk into any organization, any situation, any problem, and within a relatively short time, they've mapped out how everything connects to everything else. They see the invisible threads that link departments, processes, and outcomes in ways that other people completely miss. What makes this even more powerful is that INTJs don't just see these systems passively. They instinctively understand leverage points. They know which small change in one area will create massive improvements throughout the entire system. While other people are trying to fix symptoms, INTJs are quietly identifying the one adjustment that will solve 5 different problems at once. 2. Strategic patience that borders on supernatural. Most people think patience is just about waiting, but INTJ patience is something completely different. It's strategic, calculated, and incredibly powerful. These individuals have developed the ability to hold their position, gather information, and wait for exactly the right moment to act. This isn't procrastination or indecision. This is chess master-level thinking applied to real life. INTJs understand timing in a way that most personality types simply cannot grasp. They'll watch situations unfold, collect data, analyze patterns, and wait for that perfect moment when all the variables align in their favor. Here's what's really fascinating about this. While everyone else is getting impatient and making premature moves, the INTJ is building their understanding of the situation. They're learning about the other players, identifying weaknesses and opportunities, and constructing their strategy with methodical precision. Then, when they finally do act, it often seems like they came out of nowhere with this brilliant solution that nobody saw coming. This strategic patience extends to their personal development too. INTJs will spend years quietly developing skills, building knowledge, and preparing for opportunities that don't even exist yet. They're playing the long game while everyone else is focused on immediate gratification. 3. The power to synthesize seemingly unrelated information. INTJs have this incredible ability to take information from completely different domains and find unexpected connections. They're like intellectual alchemists, combining ideas from psychology, technology, history, and philosophy to create insights that nobody else would have thought of. This synthesis ability is what makes many INTJs seem almost prophetic in their predictions. They're not actually seeing the future. They're just connecting dots that span across multiple fields of knowledge in ways that reveal emerging patterns. While specialists are diving deep into their narrow expertise, INTJs are connecting the specialist knowledge from multiple fields to see the bigger picture. What's really remarkable is how this works in practice. An INTJ might read about behavioral economics, notice a trend in social media usage, combine that with historical patterns of technological adoption, and suddenly they've identified a business opportunity that won't be obvious to everyone else for another 2 years. This cross-pollination of ideas is incredibly valuable in our interconnected world. Problems today rarely exist in isolation. They require solutions that draw from multiple disciplines. INTJs are naturally equipped to think across these boundaries and create innovative approaches that more linear thinkers would never consider. 4. Exceptional ability to work with abstract concepts. While most people need concrete examples and tangible results to understand something, INTJs are perfectly comfortable swimming in the deep end of abstraction. They can work with concepts that exist purely in the realm of ideas, manipulate theoretical frameworks, and build elaborate mental models without needing physical representations. This abstract thinking ability gives NTJs a massive advantage in fields like strategy, philosophy, theoretical science, and systems design. They can envision possibilities that don't yet exist, work through complex theoretical problems, and design frameworks for understanding phenomena that other people can't even conceptualize. But here's where it gets really interesting. This comfort with abstraction allows INTJs to think several levels above the immediate problem. While other people are focused on the specific details of what's happening right now, INTJs are thinking about the principles, patterns, and possibilities that govern entire categories of similar situations. They can take a specific business problem and abstract it up to see it as one example of a broader class of organizational challenges. Then they can design solutions that don't just fix the immediate issue, but create frameworks for handling all similar problems in the future. This level of abstract thinking is incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. 5. Natural ability to spot inefficiencies and optimize processes. INTJs have this almost compulsive drive to make things work better. They can't help but notice when systems, processes, or methods are wasting time, energy, or resources. And more importantly, they can usually see exactly how to fix the inefficiency. This isn't just about being organized or neat. This is about understanding flow, identifying bottlenecks, and redesigning processes to eliminate waste and maximize output. INTJs look at any system and immediately start seeing ways to streamline it, automate parts of it, or restructure it for better results. What makes this particularly powerful is that INTJs don't just optimize for efficiency, they optimize for effectiveness too. They understand the difference between doing things right and doing the right things. So their improvements don't just make processes faster. They make them more aligned with the actual goals and more capable of producing meaningful results. This optimization mindset extends to everything INTJs touch: their personal routines, their work methods, their decision-making processes, even their relationships. They're constantly refining and improving, not because they're perfectionists, but because they can see how much better things could be with just a few strategic adjustments. 6. The ability to remain calm and rational under extreme pressure. When crisis hits, most people either panic or shut down. Their thinking becomes clouded by emotion, their decision-making suffers, and they often make the situation worse through reactive responses. INTJs, on the other hand, seem to get even more focused and clear-headed when the stakes are highest. This isn't because they don't feel stress or pressure. It's because they've developed this remarkable ability to compartmentalize their emotions and maintain their analytical thinking, even when everything around them is chaos. They can assess threats objectively, identify the most critical factors, and develop rational response strategies while everyone else is still trying to figure out what's happening. This crisis management ability makes INTJs incredibly valuable in high-stakes situations. They're the ones you want on your team when everything is falling apart, because they can cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters. While others are getting caught up in the drama and emotions of the crisis, the INTJ is already 3 steps ahead, thinking about solutions and contingency plans. What's really fascinating is that this rational thinking under pressure often leads to breakthrough insights. When everyone else is operating from a place of fear or panic, the INTJ's clear-headed analysis can reveal opportunities that nobody else would have noticed. They might see how the crisis actually creates an opening for a better approach, or how the disruption can be leveraged to implement changes that would have been impossible under normal circumstances. This ability also extends to interpersonal conflicts and difficult conversations. While other people get defensive or emotional when faced with criticism or disagreement, INTJs can usually step back and evaluate the situation objectively. They can separate their ego from the problem and focus on finding the truth or the best solution, even when it's uncomfortable or challenging to their own position. 7. Extraordinary pattern recognition across time and context. This might be the most powerful hidden strength of all. INTJs have developed this incredible ability to recognize patterns that repeat across different situations, different time periods, and different contexts. They can see the same underlying dynamics playing out in historical events, current politics, organizational behavior, and personal relationships. This pattern recognition goes way beyond simple cause and effect thinking. INTJs can identify complex cycles, recurring themes, and subtle variations on familiar patterns that most people would never notice. They might recognize that the same psychological dynamics that led to a particular historical conflict are now emerging in a modern business dispute. Or they might see how the patterns of technological adoption from the past can predict how emerging technologies will be integrated into society. What makes this pattern recognition so valuable is that it allows INTJs to learn from situations they've never directly experienced. They can study patterns from history, literature, science, and other fields, and then apply those insights to completely different contexts. This gives them access to a much broader range of solutions and strategies than people who only learn from their direct personal experience. The predictive power of this pattern recognition is almost uncanny. INTJs often seem to know what's going to happen next, not because they're psychic, but because they've recognized the pattern and they know how it typically unfolds. They can see the early warning signs of problems that won't become obvious to everyone else until much later. They can anticipate opportunities before the market conditions that create those opportunities have fully developed. This pattern recognition also helps INTJs understand people in incredibly deep ways. They can quickly identify personality types, predict how different people will react in various situations, and understand the underlying motivations that drive behavior. They see the patterns in human psychology that repeat across cultures, generations, and circumstances. But here's what's really remarkable about these 7 hidden strengths. They work together in ways that create capabilities far greater than the sum of their parts. The systems thinking combines with the pattern recognition to reveal insights about how complex systems evolve over time. The strategic patience works with the crisis management skills to create incredibly effective long-term leadership abilities. The abstract thinking enhances the synthesis capabilities to generate truly innovative solutions. When you put all these strengths together, you get individuals who can see possibilities that others can't imagine, solve problems that others can't even understand, and create strategies that seem to come from some advanced level of thinking. They're operating with cognitive tools that most people don't even know exist. And here's the thing that makes this even more interesting. Most INTJs don't fully recognize the extent of their own capabilities. They often assume that everyone thinks the way they do, that everyone can see the patterns and systems and connections that seem so obvious to them. They might even downplay their insights or hesitate to share their perspectives because they don't realize how rare and valuable their way of thinking actually is. This is why understanding these hidden strengths is so important. For INTJs, it's about recognizing and leveraging their natural advantages. For everyone else, it's about appreciating the unique value that INTJs bring to teams, organizations, and relationships. These aren't just personality quirks or interesting traits. These are genuine cognitive superpowers that can transform how problems get solved and how opportunities get recognized. The world needs more people who can think systemically, who can synthesize information across domains, who can remain rational under pressure, and who can recognize the patterns that shape our future. INTJs possess these abilities naturally, but they need to understand and develop them consciously to reach their full potential. The beautiful thing about these hidden strengths is that they're not just theoretical advantages. They translate into real-world impact that can be absolutely transformative. When INTJs finally understand and embrace these capabilities, they stop apologizing for being different and start leveraging their unique cognitive architecture to create extraordinary results. But here's where things get really interesting. These strengths don't operate in isolation. They create feedback loops that amplify each other in ways that can seem almost mystical to outside observers. The pattern recognition feeds into the systems thinking, which enhances the synthesis abilities, which improves the optimization insights, which strengthens the strategic patience. It's like having a cognitive engine that gets more powerful the more you use it. And this is where INTJs can really start to shine. Once they recognize that their way of thinking isn't just different, but genuinely superior for certain types of challenges, they can position themselves in roles and situations where these strengths become massive competitive advantages. They stop trying to fit into environments designed for more conventional thinking patterns and start seeking out or creating contexts where their unique abilities can flourish. The ripple effects of this shift can be incredible. Organizations led by INTJs who understand their strengths often develop this reputation for being mysteriously effective, for consistently making smart moves that their competitors don't see coming, for solving complex problems that have stumped everyone else. It's not luck or magic. It's the natural result of applying these hidden cognitive superpowers systematically and strategically. What's fascinating is watching how this unfolds over time. INTJs who embrace these strengths often go through this transformation, where they stop being the quiet person in the corner and become the person everyone turns to when things get complicated. Not because they're trying to be leaders, but because their unique way of processing information makes them invaluable when conventional approaches aren't working. So there you have it. 7 hidden strengths that make INTJs some of the most formidable minds you'll ever encounter. From seeing systems within systems to recognizing patterns across time and context, these cognitive superpowers work together to create capabilities that most people can't even comprehend. If you're an INTJ watching this, I hope you're starting to see your own mind in a completely different light. Those things you thought were just normal ways of thinking, they're actually rare gifts that can transform how problems get solved and opportunities get recognized. Stop downplaying your insights and start leveraging them strategically. And if you're trying to understand the ENTJs in your life, remember that these aren't just personality quirks. These are genuine cognitive advantages that can benefit everyone around them when they're properly recognized and utilized. The world desperately needs people who can think several levels deeper than the obvious, who can synthesize information across multiple domains, and who can remain rational when everyone else is losing their minds. INTJs possess these abilities naturally, but they need to understand and develop them consciously to reach their full potential. These hidden strengths aren't just interesting concepts to think about. They're tools for creating extraordinary results in a world that's becoming more complex every day. The question isn't whether INTJs have these abilities. The question is whether they'll recognize them and use them to their full advantage. What do you think? Are you an INTJ who's just discovered some hidden strengths you never recognized? Or have you witnessed these capabilities in the INTJs around you? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the fascinating world of personality types.